No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of AEW Dynamite for Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. I got the date right on the screen this time. For Raw, I accidentally put 2024, jumping ahead a year, but got the date right this time. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your support. We had the Continental Classic tournament continue on this show. We had some more build-up towards AEW World's End. Bryan Danielson was out on commentary. He had an eye patch on. And by the way, he will be wrestling this Saturday in the tournament. There you have it, Bryan Danielson. He's a tough son of a bitch. He's going to wrestle with the eye patch. But before that, we had more tournament matches. We had Jon Moxley versus Jay Lethal. As I mentioned a week or two ago, Jay Lethal essentially in this tournament to lose. Somebody's got to lose, right? Good match here, though, with these guys. Jay Lethal was targeting Moxley's leg. Moxley hit a suicide dive and was selling his leg for a bit. Lethal hit the lethal injection. Moxley kicked out of that. They traded some near falls. Lethal put on the figure four. Moxley was able to escape. And then Moxley started playing possum. Lethal fell for it. Moxley hit the paradigm shift. King Kong lariat, followed by a pile driver. Lethal kicked out, but then Moxley went right into the choke. Lethal was unable to escape. And Jon Moxley picked up the victory. No surprise here. Match was fine, though. And shout out to Ty Mello and Alexa Bliss. They both gave birth. They're happy moms now. So congratulations to them for that. We had footage of Eddie Kingston. He lost on Collision in one of the tournament matches. He lost to Brody King. And he said that his opponent coming up will be Bryan Danielson, but he'll be ready. And then Bryan Danielson cut a little promo at the commentary desk. He's fired up. He's coming to win, and I feel like he'll win, but we'll see what happens. Eddie Kingston, if you recall, put up his championships as part of this tournament, so Eddie Kingston's got to step it up here. Neither guy can really lose this one, right? We had a backstage segment with Sting, Ric Flair, and Tony Schiavone. And they had an announcement. They revealed that Revolution, I believe the date is March 3rd, 2024. It will take place in Greensboro, North Carolina at the old Greensboro Coliseum, where the first Starrcade was held, but notably where Sting and Ric Flair had their Clash of the Champions match, which put Sting's career on the map. But Ric Flair noted that he did not make Sting. Sting made himself, and he will be honored to be there for Sting's final match. And now people are speculating, will Flair be Sting's opponent? I mean, I would not rule anything out at this point, but I would be surprised. I still feel like Darby versus Sting for Sting's last match is the best way to go, in my opinion. And yes, Mr. Tito is here in the house. Shout out to Tito. Somebody had a Mr. Tito no DQ sign, which myself and Mr. Tito very much appreciate. I'm not sure who that person was, but somebody, I presume, in the Minneapolis, Minnesota area. That's where Dynamite was. So thank you for that sign. We do appreciate it. We had Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe. Man, I'm getting confused now. For some reason, I wrote Jay White versus Rouch in my notes. Mark Briscoe versus Rouch. Jay White was in the main event. I get these people mixed up, so shame on me. Shame on me for that one. Mark Briscoe versus Rouch. They traded chops on the outside of the ring, and then you had Briscoe thrown into the barricade repeatedly by Rouch, and then Briscoe gained the upper hand, hit the flying elbow off the top, or flying elbow off the apron to the floor, I should say. And then he got back in the ring. Rouch's leg was hurting. They traded shots, and then Briscoe hit the top rope elbow in the ring, but Rouch kicked out, and then Rouch was able to counter the J Driller, and then Rouch finished off Briscoe with the horns. He does that running drop kick into the corner, got the 1-2-3 victory. And Jeff is actually right. I'm still not 100% from COVID, so if I screw up more than usual, that's why. But thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. Much love to everybody out there. Match was all right, predictable. Figured Rouch would get the win here. I keep saying Jay. Mark Briscoe, basically in this tournament, like Jay Lethal. There's Jay Lethal, Mark Briscoe, Jay Briscoe, who unfortunately passed away, Jay White, just so many names. People have the same name. It gets confusing. Adam Copeland, Adam Page, Brian Cage, Christian Cage. It all drives me nuts. Everybody has the same name. Vince McMahon would not tolerate this. This is why people had to change their names, because he didn't like two people on the same show having the same name, because you get confused like I do. Anyways, City by the Bay sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, City by the Bay. Excalibur is hurting AEW. Commentary is everything. I actually think he's all right. Like, I never really had a problem with Excalibur on commentary. I feel that Jim Ross, if anything, has been a bigger problem, just because I think his time has come and gone. Tony Schiavone's all right. Like, their commentary team is fine. What they need is Mauro Ranallo. And I say this every time. I just wish somebody out there could be at Ranallo's level, or be like a young Jim Ross. That's what we need on commentary in AEW, and wouldn't hurt in WWE either. Although I think Michael Cole does do a great job, and Wade Barrett's all right as far as the color part goes, but as far as a great play-by-play announcer goes, like, yeah, we just don't have that right now in wrestling. Michael Cole's probably the best at it, but wouldn't put him at peak JR's level, or even peak Mauro Ranallo's level, for that matter. We had our world champion, MJF, come into the ring. He was walking out there on a cane. He said he doesn't like Samoa Joe, but he respects him. He brought up how Samoa Joe started off in TNA and was kicking ass, and then was not afforded the opportunity to be a world champion in WWE. He actually said WWE. And he respects Joe because Joe did not come to AEW to line his pockets. And I wonder if that was a subtle knock at CM Punk, because CM Punk said on Raw, he's there not to make friends, but to make money. And said that Joe believes in the three letters AEW. So I wonder if that was a shot at Punk, that Punk just went to AEW for the money and didn't really believe in the brand. So yeah, that was an interesting line from MJF. And he said that Joe was a guy that proved you didn't have to be a big male model to be a top star. He broke the mold, and he said, "Thank you, Joe." Crowd chanted, "Thank you, Joe." And MJF said, like Joe, he's creating an alternative in AEW. MJF brought up how he beat Cody Rhodes. He beat CM Punk. He mentioned both of those guys, and then mentioned Bryan Danielson and some others. He said he got lucky, though. against Joe the first time. And at the World's End pay-per-view, it's going to be about his legacy. And he's making a promise. He said, it's all about the size of the fight in the dog. And that in order for Samoa Joe to beat MJF, he's going to have to put him down. Now, at this point, lights went out. We had some technical glitches, and we had the Devil's guys. Maybe they were Retribution. Corey Graves even tweeted out Retribution ? So he must have been watching Dynamite. You had a bunch of guys dressed up in black about to attack MJF. And then all of a sudden, Samoa Joe made the save. And then we had more interruptions, technically, and we had a video with text. And the text issued a challenge for next week. Joe and MJF against two of the Devil's henchmen. And MJF said he's tired of the Scooby-Doo bullshit, and he accepted the match. Now, do you guys think that MJF could still be the Devil? Because these guys never actually attacked MJF. So it could still be a swerve where it's MJF all along. He was the Devil, and the greatest trick the Devil ever pulled was making you not think it's him. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who ends up being the Devil if they pull the trigger at World's End. I mean, the name of the pay-per-view sounds like it would be the big reveal of who is the Devil. Matthew still worries that it's Jake Perry or Jack Perry, whatever his name is. Maybe it's Adam Cole, but Adam Cole's hurt right now, so they're going to really have to drag this storyline out if they want it to be Adam Cole, I think. Ain't going to be Tony Khan, though, City by the Bay. I would say highly unlikely in all likelihood. This was a good segment, though. MJF always delivers on the mic, and they built up the match for next week. There's some intrigue now about who might be the Devil, and they built up the match for World's End. Good stuff. We had Wardlow versus AR Fox, which was not a total squash. AR Fox did get in a little bit of offense. He even hit a 450, but Wardlow kicked out with authority. And then Wardlow hit two power bombs, a swanton bomb, and then a third last ride like power bomb. And at that point, the referee called off the match. Wardlow wins, and he badly needs a new haircut. We had the Hardys and Brother Zay. Not a fan of that name. It reminds me of Brother Ray, like Bubba Ray Dudley, or Brother Devon. Like, is he a Dudley now? Like, what's up with the Brother Zay? Just call him Isaiah Cassidy. Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy versus Top Flight and Action Andretti. Normally, I would say Top Flight and Andretti are punching bags and they're doing the job. But in this day and age, the Hardys are there to put over other people, including Jeff Hardy. Jeff's stock is so low now. Like, what's the point in even having him around? Like, I get you want to put over other people, and Jeff did screw up, but man, like, his star power just feels flatter than ever. Like, I don't even see the point in having him there. He doesn't feel like a star anymore. So anyways, it was an okay match. Pretty standard tag match here, trios match. And Hardy and Zay triple teamed Dante Martin, who just came back from an injury. So he had a good showing here. They could not put away Dante, and then Darius and Action fought off the Hardys, and the Top Flight and Dante triple team Zay. Dante got the pinfall victory. And Dante Martin getting a push here. Jeff Hardy, I mean, he didn't take the fall here at least, but man, his stock has fallen so hard. And they set up a new six-man. Penta has Vikingo and Commander to go against Action Andretti and Top Flight. And that'll probably be a better match than this match was, just because I feel like these guys will mesh better and will do all the crazy lucha libre and high spots that you want to see. We had Julia Hart versus Emmy Sakura, which took place in the, you guessed it, 9:15 to 9:30 quarter hour, as the one women's match totally does every single week. Match was decent. I mean, the crowd was into Julia. They cheered her as the babyface here. Emmy did get in a little bit of offense, but I mean, I don't think anybody in their right mind expected Emmy to have any chance of winning this. Julia was able to avoid a moonsault. She put on her heartless submission, but since it was house rules, she could only win by pinfall, no submission. So she hit a moonsault, got the win, and that was that. Next up, we had what might have been the best segment of the show. Christian Cage in the ring with a microphone, and he had security with him. Now on Collision, I know nobody really saw Collision, but Adam Copeland took out Nick Wayne and Kill Switch, aka Luchasaurus. And Christian wanted Adam Copeland to come to the ring so they could talk. Everyone's wondering what's going on with Britt Baker. Britt Baker went on Twitter and X and said she's had 0 mic time this entire year. So people are like, well, what's the deal with that? I mean, yeah, Britt's not on TV. I'm not sure what's up with her. But anyways, Adam Copeland showed up. Christian had the security leave, and they had a talk. And Christian put on this big sob story. He said he was sorry. And he's not sorry because of what happened to Kill Switch and Nick Wayne. He said he had a road trip of reflection, and he realized that they made it together in the business. They were the greatest tag team ever, multi-time champions, and they're like brothers. And Christian said his father became the father that Copeland never had. The crowd always makes noise when Christian starts bringing up fathers. And then he really started to lay it in thick, because he brought up Adam Copeland's mother, who recently passed away. It said that one of the last things she wanted was to see them as a tag team one more time. Now, Copeland was not buying it. He thought this was all a bunch of BS. So Christian attempted to take a cheap shot with the TNT title. As it turns out, it was BS, but Copeland was ready for it. Copeland gave him a low blow, said, "Nice try, dumbass," and then told Christian to shine up the title because it's coming home with him next week in Montreal. They are going to do this one-on-one match, Adam Copeland versus Christian for the TNT title. And then last thing he said to Christian, "Go F yourself." And it was uncensored. And if you remember, Christian said that to Adam on Dynamite several weeks ago, and now this was Adam Copeland's receipt. And the censors were asleep at the wheel. They missed the censor, and we got an F-bomb on live TV. Very good segment here to build up the match for next week. Should be a fun one in Montreal. Looking forward to that. And then we had the main event of the evening, which was Swerve Strickland versus Jay White. Swerve's shoulder still taped up. And this was a good match in my opinion, but I'm still not really buying into some of the the match outcomes here. Like this one, I think was a little bit more unpredictable because Jay White has been getting pushed and Swerve is really getting pushed right now. So it was a little harder to predict. And it did turn into a very good match here with these guys, back and forth and competitive. And at one point, Swerve countered an arm bar and then hit the kill shot to White's arm, which led to the crowd chanting, "You sick F." Swerve hit the Swerve stomp, but Jay White kicked out. And then Jay White went for the Blade Runner, but Swerve was able to fall to the outside of the ring. I think he got hit with it, but he got sent to the outside. And then Jay White got Swerve back into the ring. They traded shots. About 5 minutes was left on the time. Swerve was able to counter another Blade Runner attempt and then got White into a pinning combination and scored the 1-2-3 victory. Swerve picks up 3 more points, so him and Moxley both have 6 points. Swerve seems to be the odds-on favorite to win this. They're really pushing Swerve at this point. They're trying to make him the next big thing, and we'll see if it pans out. No angle or anything here. You know, these matches, it's all about the wrestling. It's all about just fighters getting in there and having matches and getting points and winning these championships at the end. So minimal amount of storylines here. They did no cliffhanger at the end, but it was good for what it was. And overall, Dynamite was all right. Like, it did not blow me away. Wrestling was good. Best match was probably the main event, but I enjoyed the talking segments more. I thought MJF's segment and the Christian segment were the highlights of the show more than the wrestling. Women's match was just kind of filler. So I give the show a B-. Pretty decent, but overall, I think this was a skippable show if you missed it. Although I think that you should check out the Christian and Adam Copeland segment. That was a fun one. Christian always does a good job. And, they're continuing to tease the Devil's identity. That's good. So those 2 storylines, I think, have been pretty compelling. The tournament's fine. But, yeah, we got more matches coming up. And I have a feeling Swerve is going to win it if I had to make a prediction right now. Swerve versus Bryan Danielson in the final. I guess that's my prediction at this point. So thank you all so much for tuning in for the recap. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Spread the word on social media. Tell a friend. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. Buy a shirt at NoDQ.com/merch. And I will see you all next time.